Hello, John from a British expat in the Philippines. Good morning. Um, let's talk today about expats going broke. Welcome back. Why are they going broke? That's the question, I suppose, most of us would ask. If they planned their visit to the Philippines or anywhere in the world to make a new start in a foreign country, one would hope that they've done their homework, so to speak. They've done the research, they've watched all the blogs. They spent a long time making that decision. Like so many of the expats that you find here in the Philippines, many of them are American, Australian, English, and quite a few Europeans. So they all would have had to make that same decision. They may well have met their lady online on some of the dating channels. They may have just met them through Facebook, and they've created a new relationship using either Skype or Messenger, which is the common way of doing it, because you can get to see and hear and understand a lot more about that person that you want to make a relationship with when you see them eyeball to eyeball. But just remember, just like you, you have to be honest right from the word go. Don't paint this picture that you have a Ferrari or that you're living in a mansion somewhere in the world. Tell the truth, I'm retired, I was a farmer, or I was a lorry driver or a truck driver, or I just worked in a shop or a factory. Tell them the truth, because they're not going to be any more impressed or unimpressed by what you've done. They're only interested in what you can provide in the future for yourself and your new family. That's why they're talking to you. Now, obviously you will get gold diggers. Be very wary of people who ask for money before you've even met them, maybe. We've heard horror stories from Nigeria, and I'm sorry that I'm pointing to Nigeria, but it is one of the biggest points of scams coming around the world, and many people have lost their life savings through unwittingly sending money or falling trapped to a love triangle with a scammer. But we're more in this subject, we're more attached to the idea that if you come to the Philippines, that you make the right choices and you make the right plans. Financially, that is very important, that you consider, are you just spending your life savings on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make a relationship at your later years of life with a younger person who you feel that you are connected to? Many expats have discovered that living as a 60-year-old plus with a 19-year-old plus girlfriend isn't necessarily the best option, because as much as they are beautiful, they're yummy, and you would not necessarily ever have found someone like that in your own country. But they are light years away in intellect most of the time from you. They are just after a secure future and not necessarily mature enough to realize that just because they have a foreigner who is many years difference, that it's going to work. You may well find that they want the latest fashions, and you're naturally wanting to buy them for them. They'll want a latest model telephone. They'll maybe want to go and be photographed at different resorts around the country and live the high life. but it won't necessarily culminate in a long-term relationship. They may well have boyfriends out of the scene that you won't be aware of at the time because, first of all, you won't understand what they're writing when they're texting, and maybe they're texting when you're not around. And these are things that you have to be very conscious of, because if you go to pour all of your energy and love into that relationship, or what you believe is love, you may well be heartbroken and disappointed when it falls all apart terribly. So the idea, I suppose, would be to look for somebody who is of the same mindset, travelling the same journey as you. And remember that this beautiful lady in front of you, whether she's online or whether she's actually in front of you here in the Philippines, may well consider that you are stepping into the role of looking after not only her but her family. And you have to draw a line as to what you're prepared to accept. If you have sufficient resources and you're happy to do that, by all means, go ahead. But just remember, the same things apply. We can all drain our bank accounts trying to please everybody, but we have to come down to ground level eventually and realize that we have a finite resource. That is, in other words, the money we have put aside for maybe building a home maybe one day with this lady and providing for her future may not include her family. When you're gone, the family may well move into that nice new home that you built, but that's after you're gone, and that's between them, the lady that you chose, and her family then. Also, you have to consider that if she has children from before you came along, and maybe also a child that you've created, are you going to be around long enough to not only support that child, but to enjoy the growing up and the milestones in that child's life? I think at 60 you're less likely to meet or be able to attend the graduation at 18, because let's be factual. Are you going to live into your 80s here in the Philippines? Maybe, but necessarily not likely. So therefore you have to plan your life with her and her children, whether from a previous relationship or not, to the best of your ability, to provide her. This is all about her now. And in doing so, planning for her future as much as you're coming along on the journey is just as important. And therefore, you have to be very well prepared for the fact that it's going to cost quite a bit of money. It may well use up most of your resources, and this is where, when the relationship breaks down, you might find yourself penniless, only relying on next month's pension or next month's payment from overseas, from where it's coming from. And if you don't plan things correctly, and when I say planning, take all of these scenarios on board before you jump in head first into the deep end. Make sure that you do have a situation not only for yourself but for your partner, a plan B. You know, if things go sour with the family, you need to know, is she going to support you emotionally? Is she going to be torn to going back to the family and discarding you because your money has run out? So please, I can't emphasize more that you make sure that you're on a firm ground when you enter the relationship. Don't be tempted to show your ego by way of emptying your wallet. And plan as you would in the West. I mean, would you plan a wife, maybe who has had children before, and then discover that you've lost your job and she's off with another person? I don't think so. We always plan forever. That is the idea, for better or for worse, in sickness and in ill health. The same applies here. Don't throw all of your money away. Don't find yourself in America or Australia with no money, living on social welfare. You plan on getting together, having that first flat, having the first rented flat, then maybe putting a deposit down, building a home together, having a mortgage. Well, over here, it's slightly different. Therefore, you are the mortgage. So make sure that you're able to achieve that. And if the breakup happens, be aware that you have to start again. And you don't want to start from zero. So always make sure you have a little bit in hand. And that you have, I know Jane thinks this comment is somewhat alarmist. And it's not meant to be. Every couple should have a plan B. And the plan B should be aimed at togetherness in hard times. And what are we going to do? Are you going to have to go back to your country and leave your partner here for a while you build up your resources again? Or is it going to be one of those relationships that terminates and you're left on the beach or on the park bench pondering what you do next? Just make sure that you have sufficient resources put aside, even if it's left in your bank account overseas, so that you can draw on it in an emergency. Not only for your family in good times, but also in the inevitableness if the relationship fails, that you have something to back you up. So this is just an advice of a wise old man, maybe not so wise sometimes, but I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and that you like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to press the notification button to all, which is the dark bell, and then you'll get to see my next video when it comes up. So thank you for watching. Bye now.